Okay, I'm trying Shin Gu.
Yeah, okay.
See, she doesn't care anymore. She's like, that's not even. Yeah, okay, Brian, that's fine. Anyway, we're outside this dealer's booth, and you can see some of the lovely backlit photos that they have there. And we're actually walking by, and I was surprised. I thought I had done this before, but let's go in because they've got some really neat things here. Come on in. You walk by it, and it has a real, other than the writing, it has a real Western feel in terms of what they have and how they display it. So I thought that was really interesting. Again, we're on the main thoroughway here at the 2024 Nanjing show. Come on, let's go take a look. You can see immediately that people are enjoying this. I think I'm going to start on the left here, and then we'll go around. We've got a unlit display case up front, but some interesting things, and people are enjoying that. All Western style bases, lucite bases. But then we go into the lit cabinets, and this thing I love. This is an elephant seal to me. Looks like an elephant seal, and then you've got the shrimp in the foreground. I love that. I think that is so cool because the piece itself, when I first looked at it, especially that tip there that's coming down, looks like the nose of a male elephant seal. And to have it on that carved wooden base, you see the shells in the base, you see the holes in the base evoking the imagery of sand. You have shells down there. You have, I wouldn't call that seaweed, but it's maybe grass that's growing near the beach. I absolutely love that because it just, everything, the base and the specimen itself tells the story, plays into the whole sea lion theme, and that is just superb. That's really enjoyable. Another neat bicolored malachite piece back there. Feels like mountains, especially as you have kind of two layers. It seems like you've got this one layer in the foreground and then that second peak in the background. So it makes sense that the carved base looks like clouds and wind. So that is cool. And this is another one that's pretty cool right there. We always call these kind of emerald cities, but I could see how that could also be kind of a forest motif, which is echoed in the bamboo leaves that you see at the bottom there, and the little village that possibly is right on the riverbank, right on the beach. That's a neat piece. Come on. You got to agree with me that is just kind of cool. Here is, I would almost swear that I filmed that for Levinsky, but a giant plate of azurite there. Superb piece, very Western style on the big acrylic base. That's kind of neat. Going with our theme of phallic malachite specimens here at the Nanjing show, I'm actually going to submit that looks more like the alien creature that bursts out of the chest in the first Alien movie. So it probably has nothing to do with the base there. But hey, if we're going to anthropomorphize minerals, I'm going with alien there. But that is a neat piece. You could see the light rings through the chatoyancy all on the front of the specimen there. That's a very nice piece. Going back up here, this is spectacular. This is grand. Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, were you taking a picture? I'm sorry. Look at that. That is wonderful. Absolutely superb. Large malachite diorama, if you will, that blends in perfectly with this dark wood carved base. You have kind of a village off here underneath the tree. You have steps leading down here, coming down to possibly kind of a river valley in here. Really, that is a superb piece. And then we come down here. We've got this very, very large mountain evoking piece there. Again, we've got the village with the trees in the background. So that is just a neat malachite mountain, if you will. And then this with the metallic coating on top of the malachite. I'm not even sure what the base is doing there, but that's kind of interesting. I'm not moved by it too much aesthetically, but again, different strokes for different folks. You want to talk about another spectacular landscape piece there. Look at that. Definitely evokes feelings of a jungle. And I love the way that it's kind of counterbalanced by the open space and the depth of the wood there. You know, it's spectacular. It simply is. And those are things that you just will not see at an American or a European show. All right, we're going to sneak in here. It's getting a little bit crowded, so I'm trying to be mindful of people. But we got a couple really neat malachite, almost looks like globular things in motion. No chatoyancy. It's very smooth-faced on both of those pieces, which is kind of interesting. And then we have the centerpiece, which has a lot of movement. It's a very dynamic piece that goes in very well with the base that's being carved there. Got another piece down here that kind of feels like a Carlsberg cavern type a piece with the matching base, and you can see waterfall coming out of the base. So maybe this is like one of the mammoth caves, and you've got water coming out of the mammoth cave that is then shown as the wood carving there. So that's kind of fun. This looks like just a jumble of malachite, but again, we got a little village down there. So I imagine they're thinking it's some kind of mountain type thing. This is interesting. Very, very large growth of malachite, and if you look at the top of it, you can see the hole. So I bet there's hollowness throughout that thing. Interesting. And now we're going on to the back cases here, where it feels, even though we have this wooden base on these there, it feels very, very Western, just the overall style of what we're looking at here. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I think these Chinese dealers are wisening up. They are aware of what moves and what's happening, and they are doing a very nice integration of Eastern and Western style displays. And I think they're doing it, I think it's very appropriate, and I would love to see some of these kind of things, where appropriate, filter back to the West. Just because on some of these pieces, just the base enhances the overall piece. And, when it comes down to it, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for overall aesthetics. And nobody said that the aesthetics only have to exist in the piece. I mean, think about the lucite bases. Those change the way that we view the aesthetics of a piece. We want something that doesn't distract from the mineral. That's fine. But what if something adds to the mineral, adds to the overall story being told, so that it becomes more of a conversational piece? It becomes, there are more layers and depth to looking at a piece. I don't see anything wrong with that. Of course, I'm not a mineral collector, but I've seen a mineral or two, and that's just my personal opinion. I mean, I will ask the viewers to think back to those copper pieces that we saw on the wooden bases, and those were just spectacular. And that was on an earlier video. Look at that. Okay, so here we have an amethyst with the calcite that we've seen before from Uruguay, but here it's all kind of contained within that wooden carving, almost as a bowl, and presented in a way that makes it very different. If that amethyst was just on a lucite base in a case, would you give it a second look? But in that wooden case, or in the wooden stand, I submit that maybe you would look at it in a different way, or you'd take a second look at it. In some pieces, like maybe this, that would be too awkward if it were in a wooden base. So that's on a lucite base. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I don't think it has to be either or. It's not black or white. I would love to see more of this style coming to the American and European shows. And look how well integrated it is here. You have this fantastic malachite piece with azurite, all just kind of all throughout it. And again, probably look really good on a lucite base, but looks spectacular on that wooden base. That is just superb. I just love that. This is it's the green is called malachite. We lost interest already. That was probably a world record. Or maybe it was just, he speaks English. I'm shutting down. There's kind of a scene that evokes thoughts of water flowing down a mountain range there. Got a lot of activity in front of it right now. They're pulling things out of the case. But that's kind of a cool piece right there. And honestly, I don't know. I think I like the polished bases better. Like if you look at that base to me is superb. This base, while it makes sense thematically with the piece, the unpolished nature of the base doesn't resonate with me. I'll tell you, more malachite than I've seen in a show in a long time. And it might be just because malachite is very collectible here. Look at that. Look at all those little white circles in the chatoyancy in that malachite. That is pretty impressive. It's like a light show right there. And again, just because it's in a wooden base doesn't mean it's great. I personally don't like that wooden base. I think it detracts. And maybe it's the two colors of it, maybe it's the shape of it. I don't know. Those are the kind of things I want to explore. But personally, I don't like that wooden base. I would take it off that wooden base. So it's not just yes or no. It's also doesn't make sense. This is kind of interesting because we've got the imagery of the wave at the bottom there. But again, is that the best wooden base for that piece? I think it's a cool piece. I'm not a fan of that base. So I think they're all different nuances here. And, you know, as we continue to cover the shows here and provoke conversation, I hope we all experiment. That's it.